Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Marchena Perspective, episode number 7. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. On January 31st of 2025, this year, I actually got fired from my previous job. That was definitely a very, very harsh moment. It was catastrophic at the time, I would say. And the reason why it was catastrophic is because at the moment, our finances as a family were not necessarily in the best spot. It's not like we didn't have absolutely any money, but it's not like we were prepared for me to get fired. I also had a 3-month-old at the time, and my wife was not working. So it was a very tough position to be in. And I felt a lot of anxiety. I felt a lot of despair, as it is normal, obviously. I didn't feel sad or depressed by any means, And God knows that I'm speaking with sincerity on this. I didn't feel sad or depressed. I was incredibly anxious. It was very mentally challenging, but I got back on the horse immediately. And literally the night of the day I got fired, I started looking for other jobs and other options. Now, this sounds like a very difficult situation. Obviously, I'm pretty sure some of you have been in a situation where, you've got fired on the spot. You were not prepared. You didn't even know what happened. You were super confused. You were furious. You were like, what is going on? Why is this happening? And specifically at this moment, I don't think it ever happens in a good time, but yeah. So even though that was a very hard situation to face, it wasn't as bad as what happened a couple of months before January of 2025. So by August of 2024, going a little back, I've mentioned many times, I'm from New York. I live in New York. But at the time, me and my wife, we took a little bit of a sabbatical to Florida. So we were living in Florida at the time, specifically Orlando, Florida. Beautiful city, incredible state. But something that Florida has is that the job market is definitely very different, much slower. Of course, it depends on the industry. But in general, my personal experience, and it was also my wife's and also the experience of a lot of our neighbors and peers and, people that we know and a lot of our friends, is that the Florida market can be challenging for people that come from a more accelerated, faster market like New York's. So it was very challenging for us to get jobs and just get, wages that at least resembled what we used to make in New York. We never actually got to that point. We never reached a financial spot of comfort. As a matter of fact, we were not making any money. And the months we were making some money, we were making barely enough to maybe pay the rent and maybe do a little more things. But definitely, without question, we were ending up negative every single month. We were not covering our expenses. And then the tip of the hat to, I guess, add a little more zest and fun to the situation is that we got an eviction notice. And it was horrible. It was a horrible time. I was very frustrated. I was very angry. We were working our asses off. My wife, she was working in hospitality at the time, a very demanding job, hours and hours and hours and hours, standing and just going all over the place a day. She was 8 months pregnant at the time. Me, I was working as a Lyft driver. And amongst other things, I did Uber Eats at the time and whatever, because, we couldn't really get good jobs, man. It was horrible. And every single time we would get a job, it was just like the most minimum wage possible. So we were just not prepared for the monster of what the Florida job market was at the time. And we ended up getting an eviction notice on a night that both she and I had worked a 10 to 12-hour shift. And it was very embarrassing. I felt very incompetent as a man at the time. I felt like I didn't have my stuff. I didn't have my act together. I was not providing. I was not being a good man. I was not being capable. I was not being a real protector. And to me, it was just like, is this who am I going to be? Who I'm going to be as a father? Is this who I'm going to be as a husband? Like, this is literally when my wife and my family need me the most. You know, my wife is 8 months pregnant. And I am not even, not only I'm not even to cover the expenses, but we're just getting kicked out. And I imagined myself, you know, just being kicked out and being in the streets or just like going to a shelter with my wife. And to me, that was the ugliest image that I've ever had in my head. But I was not gonna allow that. So at the time, there was only one solution. We had to go back to New York. This was not optional at the time. We spoke to our family members. We explained the situation. We told them, hey, we are struggling here. We need help. We need to go back to New York. Our families said, you know what? Absolutely. I completely agree. You guys are too far from us. You know, my wife was going to have a baby. Obviously, our families wanted to have proximity to the baby. So they were just like, come back, stay with us. You guys are going to figure it out. I started looking for jobs in New York. The first interviews didn't land. Boom. Finally, I did get a job. We moved back to New York, and the rest is history. And this was probably about a year ago. And in the last year, both me and my wife had found more success financially and spiritually that we found probably in the last 4 years. We're actually very financially comfortable. We're accomplishing things we didn't think possible a year, 2 years, 3 years ago. And the family keeps growing. And we're now in a situation where we're in an unrecognizable spot financially and personally and spiritually compared to how it was back in Florida. Now, why did I tell you this story? Why am I telling you all of this? Because I feel like a lot of people, and there's a lot of that in the internet, a lot of people only like to tell the success stories. They don't like to tell the failures. They don't like to talk about the times they failed miserably. And I definitely failed miserably. And the reason why I want to tell you this story is because at the end of every failure, there's always a success story. This may not be, you know, something like Will Smith's in the search of happiness, in the pursuit of happiness, excuse me. It may not be the fact that at the end of the road, you became a multimillionaire and, you know, you became the CEO of several companies or you became a billionaire, whatever the case may be. But there are failures that lead you to a place of you can't really go any lower, so the only way is up. And I think that that is not true. It can always be worse. It can always be worse. To the point that, for example, my wife and I, we didn't actually get evicted, but we could have gotten evicted. And then after getting evicted, we could have gotten sick. And then after getting sick, something worse could have happened, God forbid. But it didn't get to that point, did it? We remained faithful. We remained very confident in God and our decision making. And we both felt at the same time that it was a pivotal moment for us to realize we've failed. Florida, for whatever reason, did not work out for us. It is a beautiful state. It's a beautiful city. It's a nice place to be, but it's just not where it's at for us financially, at least at the moment. So we left, came back to New York, and we completely did a 180. We're living in an incredible place. We're driving the car that we want to drive. The family keeps growing. We're traveling. And the rest is history. Now, we still have a lot more to accomplish. We still have a lot more to fight for. We still have a lot more to do. The job is not done. But what I want to tell you with this, guys, is that failure is always going to be part of the story. Not only for me, not only for my wife, not only for you, but for a lot of people that you know and a lot of people that you not know. You walk around outside every single day, you don't really know what's going through the heads and what's going in the lives of the people that you see walking past you. So it was very hard for us to get back on our feet, especially with the hiccup of me getting fired just 3-4 months after we left Florida and came back to New York. But that situation actually ended up happening for the better of things, for the better. Everything just got better after I got fired. I have an incredible job. I have the opportunity and the time to have these conversations with you guys. I created this channel. I created this family. I'm trying to build this community of conversation and understanding and faith. We're strengthening our faiths. So the reason why everything became better now in retrospective is not only because failure is supposed to happen, not only because failure is part of the journey, not only because failure is what gives you the best teachings, but also because I feel like you as a human being, especially us as man, we don't get fully tested until we massively fail. Especially our faith. I don't think our faith is fully tested. You know, the Bible said that if our faith is the size of a mustard seed, if you tell the mountain to move, the mountain will indeed move. And I really believe that. I really, truly believe that to my core. Because a lot of people that have gone through struggle, they've gone through terrible things, I've found that they are very angry at God, very upset. They're very, I would even say, disappointed in God. It's like they feel they've given God so much and God has given them back so little, if anything. And I am here to tell you that it sucks. The struggle is definitely something that tests you, and sometimes it makes you feel like things can't get any worse. But I promise you that, number one, it can always be worse. And there are a lot of people that would die to be in your spot. There are a lot of people that pray to God every day to be anywhere resembling your situation. And this is not me discrediting you. This is not me discrediting, your situation. This is not me diminishing what you are going through. This is just me trying to give you perspective. This is the Marchena perspective, after all. I just want to give you perspective on the fact that even though what you are going through and what you're feeling is valid, it could always be worse. Much worse, by the way. And that there are a lot of people that will literally do everything in their human power to be in your spot. So we should always be grateful. We should always be thankful that we have our issues, we have our problems, we have our situations, we have our stress. Yes, but it can always be worse. And a lot of people are actually experiencing that bottom that you're so afraid of reaching. So that is number one. And number two, that God is not your bully. He is not. It's not God's job to wake up and suddenly say, let me see how I can make your life impossible. That's not God's job. Don't diminish him like that. He is not abusing you. He is not making you feel miserable just because he is a psychopathic puppet master that wants to entertain himself by making you go through struggle. Now, he has to test you. Because if your faith is not polished, if your faith is not tested, then how are you even going to know if you truly believe in God or not? So these things have to happen for both personal and spiritual reasons. And they're going to keep happening because life is life, guys. And if there is anything that we are 100% sure of, is that suffering is going to come. Suffering is going to happen. Bad things are coming, and they're unavoidable. War is unavoidable. Death is unavoidable. Sickness is unavoidable. Getting old and immobile is unavoidable. And all these things are definitely going to make us feel distraught. But think about all the beautiful, radiant things that your life has right now for you and for your family and for the people that you love. All the privileges. The fact that you can wake up and hate your life means that you are privileged. Believe it or not, because it means you're alive. You could be dead. It could always be worse. I won't stop repeating myself. This is something that I try to apply every single day. Do you guys think I don't complain sometimes? Of course. I am only human at the end of the day. So obviously, sometimes I feel frustrated, and obviously sometimes I complain. I never make the capital mistake of feeling like a victim because I don't believe in victimhood. I really truly believe it's a cancer. It's horrible, and nobody should feel a victim unless you're actually a victim. And a lot of people who feel victims aren't really. So I think it's a little ridiculous that a lot of people do victimize themselves. But a lot of people are. But I don't feel like a victim because I've never been a victim. However, sometimes I complain, like any human being would. And what I try to do is to completely shake off that feeling, those thoughts, and immediately go back to how grateful I should feel that I even have the cognitive ability and the health to complain about anything. Because the fact that you're able to complain about something means that you're alive, that you're abled, and that most likely there is a light at the end of the tunnel to these problems and to these issues and to these complaints. So, just something that I wanted to get out there. These experiences that I described previously about me getting fired and almost being evicted with a pregnant wife, soon to be father, and yada, yada. Yeah, they were horrible. Yes, of course, they were frustrating. Yes, absolutely. But they made me a better Christian. And not for a single second I blamed God. And I can say that with an open heart. Not for a single second I blamed God. Not for a single second I thought God was punishing me for anything. Not for a single second I thought that God hated me or that he was putting me under too much pressure for me to handle. Not for 1 second. And you guys have no idea how happy I feel every single time I remember how devastated we would feel back then. Yet we never blamed God for absolutely anything. As a matter of fact, we kept going to church more than ever. And now we try to keep going to church as much as we humanly can. and try to be involved in our communities. And I try to spread this message through this channel to you guys. So yeah, just wanted to let you know that God is with you. He loves you. He loves us all exactly as we are, exactly as we come. And regardless of anything you're going through today, I really want to leave you with this message. And I really want you to remember that God is there for you, to protect you, to love you, and to bless you each and every step of the way. Thank you very much. See you on the next one. Hello there, and thank you very much for watching today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, do not hesitate to like and subscribe to the channel for you to get more content like this. Thank you very much. God bless you, and see you on the next one.